Hello there, everyone. We are the Haunted 3. We got Sith Lord Sky, Star White, and me, King Pumpkin. We're here, and we're going to creep you out tonight. Let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started.
That's a good idea.
Huh.
Pumpkin, what are we doing today?
What we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about indie horror games, specifically ghost hunting for the time
Hell
being,
yeah.
Yes.
and go from there. Let's start off with Phasmo.
Yep, we have all played Phasmo, so that's a good place to start. We've all played a lot of
Again,
Phasmo. Well, all right.
Oh yeah.
Pumpkin's played a lot of Phasmo. I've played Phasmo.
Yeah.
hey, I
Played a
played a lot
lot of
too.
Yes,
Phasmo.
I'm
yes, you
like
have.
level 600.
Y'all are my Phasmo sugar daddies.
Pumpkin's got me beat though on hours put in, I think.
Pumpkin
Yeah.
has everybody beat on that.
Pretty
So,
soon he'll be like the next Insum with like 15,000 hours or some shit.
right? Christ. So,
So how about we talk about the main premise of the game? The
Okay.
ghost hunting, the mechanics, what we think of it.
absolutely. Um, so general overview, it's literally just a Ghost Hunters game.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Yep.
you get like this tiny synopsis of of what you're looking for. So you start off in a van saying, "Oh, the ghost name is Wanda Versace." the
I wish I'd seen that name. Fuck, man.
the family
It's
has
interesting look.
reported right. The family has reported strange activity, la da 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 da, and then you jump in. Yeah, it's like the original Ghost Hunters show.
Mm-hmm. You
Yep.
investigate and shit. I mean, yeah. Like it's
Except for the one ghost called William.
William.
Yeah, there
William
literally
Williams.
I have
Yep.
ran into William.
Yep.
Some of us have ran into Betty White.
I've ran into
I've
Betty
had Buddy
White.
White. I have
I've
had
ran
Buddy
into
White.
Michael Jackson on high school, so take that for what you will.
Oh shit!
Oh boy.
Oh,
Oh god no.
that I no.
Oh fuck. No.
I'm not kidding. I
All
went
right,
on
all
a high
right.
school match once and Michael Jackson was nail. I'm like, is this on purpose?
At least it's high school, not middle school.
Hey, there we go.
Oh
The
god.
small silver lining.
Some of them are legal. Jesus Christ! Why? Why do I say these things?
Some of them are. Oh god
Demonetized
no.
again if we ever get monetized in the first place.
You're the one
Oh,
who
shit.
mentioned it, damn it.
Yeah,
All
but
our wife said is
I,
that he had Michael Jackson in high school. You had to make it weird.
hey, I'm not the one who said
How do
some
you
of them are
not?
legal.
You had
How
to
do
make
you?
it weird.
How do you not talk about Michael Jackson in a high school and not make
and
it
it
weird?
and it not go there.
Like,
God. We can't help the names that they come up
I,
with.
the IRL, Freddy Krueger. No, okay,
right?
that's
Oh
Oh,
god.
we talked about that.
Oh.
Wes Craven didn't confirm it. So,
Yeah, it wasn't a Wes Craven movie. It don't count.
so, fuck. All right.
Back on topic.
What we got? There's, you guys have done so much more than I have. There's what? There's
we broke Sky.
again. There's houses.
Yeah.
There's the high school. There's the penitentiary. No, well, yeah, prison,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
farmhouse,
2 farmhouses. Yep.
2 farmhouses. There's like 3 different regular houses.
Yeah.
What else?
There's an
more than
insane
3.
asylum.
Oh, right, the insane asylum. There's more than 3 houses. I thought there were only 3.
Yeah, that you have.
Edgefield, Ridgeview. You've got Willow, and what's the other one that we played? The
Tangle.
small one, Tanglewood. Yeah.
Oh,
So we got
right.
4.
Yep. Okay.
Damn, why couldn't I think of Tanglewood? That's like my second favorite map. What the fuck?
It's my first favorite.
And well, I mean, you start off with no money at all.
Yeah, you broke.
Yeah,
you
you
a
start
broke
off
son of a
with
bitch.
just. You start off with basic equipment.
If you say basic, you start off with like 4 things: a fucking camera, a spirit, book, and
Spirit box.
Spirit box.
oh,
You start
spirit
with,
box. Yeah. Oh, right, not
UV.
spirit book, spirit box.
You start off with
a
dots now.
UV.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the dots projector now you start off
Mhm.
with.
Yeah, basically whatever is used to actually record evidence is what you start with. So they had to add dots. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to
Gotcha.
get all 3 pieces of evidence when they introduced that.
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. That's all they give you for free is basically what you can use to actually gather evidence. And then photo cameras, do you start with? I think so, right?
Yeah.
I think you start off with 1.
Yeah.
But you don't start off with a recording camera, do you?
Mm,
So
Oh,
you,
you're
that's like a
supposed to get orbs.
1. Yeah, you would have to for orbs. Yeah, you have a recorder. I think you only have like 1 though.
I'm
That's
gonna
part of
have
your
to check
base
it out.
kit.
And after that, what do we got? We got a lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot of shit.
Yeah, a
you can
lot.
unlock.
Motion detector, a headlamp,
Sound sensor, yeah.
sound sensor, yep.
Tripods.
Tripod,
Tripods, salt, the almighty salt and smudge sticks, and lighter and
Crucifixes.
candles.
candle.
Yeah, crucifixes are super fucking important nowadays too. So are
Are they?
smudge sticks. Mm.
Glow sticks.
Thermometer and the
Yep.
uh the thing you listen with. What do
EMF.
they call those? EMF. That's
No.
basic. You start with EMF,
Right.
but the
Yeah,
other
the
thing,
other.
what is it called?
The spirit box?
No, the thing like you
No.
wear the headphones and like point it at
It's
in
the
a direction.
paramic.
Parabolic, yeah. There you
Oh, parabolic mic. Okay, all right.
go. Mm-hmm.
And well, I mean, Jesus, they've updated a lot. How many ghosts are there now?
Yeah.
How many different types of ghosts are there?
A lot. And they've got like they said in one of the streams with the big streamers, they got like 10 on the back burner that they're working on.
Yeah, they're releasing 2 on Halloween, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 16 right now. I think.
No, that doesn't
Let's
seem
see.
right. 16?
I wrote down
Or
back
close
with
to
their
that.
original. I wrote their
Jesus.
originals down because at one time I actually looked up the lore behind each ghost type
Yeah.
because I was really interested in some of. I knew where some of them came from, but I can't find.
There's
that note
definitely
anymore.
over 10. I know that.
Yeah, because we got Spirit, we've got Spirit, we've got Revenant, we've got Shade, we've got Demon and Yuri. That's
Poltergeist.
5. We got Poltergeist,
Banshee.
Banshee, Phantom.
Yeah.
There's 8. Jinn, 9.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Shit.
Wraith, there's 10.
Right. Yep.
And there's
Yurei.
still plenty more after that. Yeah,
Yurei.
Yurei.
Hantu.
Hantu,
Myling,
Myling, Goria. What was the other one that
All right. Some of these I haven't heard of, so fuck.
You never ran into him yet?
I'm behind.
Oh, you're far behind, my friend.
Damn it! Do I gotta play more Phasmo? Son of a bitch.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
There's the streamer killer. Which one's that one?
That's
Oh.
the yokai.
Yokai. Yeah, there's 15.
Yeah, that's the one that even when your mic is muted, it still picks up, right?
No, that's just all the time in single player. I know because I got killed by a ghost by my wonderful.
All right,
knight.
here we go.
That's right.
We got 16 different ghosts. Like
Hey,
I
we
said,
named
we
all. Except what? What
Look,
was the what we missed?
we got Spirit, Wraith,
Mhm.
Phantom, Poltergeist, Banshee, Jinn,
Poltergeist.
Mare, Revenant,
Mare, that's what I forgot.
Shade, Demon, Yuri, Oni, Yokai, Hantu, Myling, Goryo. Like I said, 16.
Yep. I missed the mare
I
and I
said it
missed
right.
the Oni.
We are
I would know
sorry,
because I play the game a lot.
Almighty Pumpkin. We are not
Which
worthy.
mare might as well not exist though, as few of those as I run into.
Yeah. So, Star, what is it about Phasmophobia that makes you keep coming back?
Um, for me, it's the whole ghost hunter fantasy. I mean, I've always wanted to be a paranormal investigator. I
Right.
can't really afford the equipment to do it, and Phasmo, to an extent, it lets me have that experience. Definitely more than any other game has at this point, for sure.
Unfortunately, there are never houses that are not haunted, so
That
Yeah.
would kind of be a funny feature, like 1 in 1,000 how rounds that you do. There's literally no ghosts.
nothing. There's nothing there.
That would
That would be
be
hilarious.
that would be.
Or it's someone like in the garage with a little sound system, like making shit happen. Fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
a string attached to a fucking plate as it moves across the table.
Right, right.
But no, that's what gets me is I've always wanted to do the paranormal investigating. I'm not in a spot where I can do that because the
Right.
equipment for it's just ass expensive. So
Insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Pumpkin, what
that's why
about
for me.
Pumpkin, what about you?
Uh, the reason why that I like it and that I keep coming back is I really like horror. I've always been into the ghost hunting type of things. I mean, even when I was a kid, there was some times where I was watching regular TV and I would be up late at night and I would have the Sci-Fi channel on, which used to be SCIFI
Mm-hmm.
for the people who know what I'm talking about, not the SYFY shit you got nowadays.
Yeah.
The good sci-fi, but there used to be a Ghost Hunters TV show on
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Did
And
they
I
move to
think also
Discovery?
Ghost Adventures used to be on there too.
It did move to Discovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
there was
remember them.
Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, I think.
I
Yeah, Ghost Adventures. I think that was Zach Bagans or Baggins.
Zach
I
something.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know we're gonna devolve a tiny bit on this, but two things. Ghost Hunters is coming back.
Oh shit! Really?
Yep. They
Okay.
Oh,
I follow Jason from Ghost Hunters on Facebook, and they recently started re-recording. They got re-signed, so there's going to be new episodes coming out soon.
Okay.
And Ghost Adventures, I don't like it.
Mm,
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like he wants something to happen every time, so he creates like bullshit basically.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Some of Ghost Adventures absolutely seems staged, 100%.
oh yeah, and come on, how many times are people going to get fucking possessed?
Right.
Stop it!
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I 100% believe that most of those, if not all of the TV show ghosts, to some extent, stage some of their shit because
oh yeah,
you're not going to get that much activity every time
every
you go and
time,
investigate. Yeah,
right,
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
right. And I've seen
That is
some clips
why.
from them that are really good, and I'm like, oh shit, they actually got
Hmm.
something. There's a lot of it
Yeah.
though. I'm just like, come on, guys.
Yep.
That was
Yeah, that's
dust.
yeah. I mean, that's
No.
why I like Phasmo. I mean, and just like what we were talking about with Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters and stuff, that's why now I
Hmm.
watch YouTube channels like Nuke's Top 5.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
and Frostmare, Chills.
Right.
You know,
Find
all the
candid
they have
shit.
some good stuff on there.
Not
Hmm.
Mostly not staged. Mostly candid, actual shit happening.
Yeah, even if it's
Potentially.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's small, like let's say a can is moving by itself,
Right.
but they have the camera right up on the fucking can, and you can clearly see that there's no string or anything attached to it,
Right.
and it's moving on its own, and you're like,
Yeah.
how? Nuh. You're
But
just having those how moments.
Phasmophobia manages to really capture that though. Like it really captures that feel when you see a plate get knocked on the floor, or you see a
Yes.
fucking stuffed animal just drop from the fucking ceiling and land in front of you.
Yeah.
Or when the ghost hunts and you hear it crying or
Oh
laughing
god.
at you while it's hunting.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think Sky's ever experienced the crying or the laughing.
No. Every time I've played since that update, but I haven't heard anything. But it could just be my hearing problem.
It's probably just RNG to be honest, because it isn't the most common thing to have. Like it's not every
Right.
No,
hunt.
Right.
it's not common enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It would do better if like half of your hunts would have a crying or a laughing ghost, I
Oh, it'd
think.
be fantastic.
But it's rarer than that.
Right.
Okay, Sky. So, what about you?
Yeah, what keeps you playing it?
I I like the fear without the um it's the same reason why I love all horror stuff. Like you get all that adrenaline, all that fear, all that scare without the life-threatening. you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
and playing when I'm playing with you guys, I'm a whole lot better. I'm fine. But like when I'm playing by myself, I get scared shitless by the
Oh
stupidest
yeah.
things. I
yeah.
because like there's no one else talking in my ear. There's no one around for me to bounce back off of. It's just I'm playing the game and I'm listening for all the sounds, trying to see if they're responding to things, if there's footsteps, this, that, the other. And then all of a sudden they do stupid little shit and like the headphones I have are Corsairs and they have the whole Dolby surround sound.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
when the ghost like whispers behind my head, and I can hear that it's coming from behind, I'm like, it it's scary, and I love that because not enough stuff. I find like with horror movies and real life instances, I tend to be more level headed.
Hmm.
But when I'm in a video game and I have no idea what the fuck is about to happen, like all those little things that ambiance and the entire feel of the game where like everything will be completely quiet for a moment and then all of a sudden you'll hear a plate fall, you'll hear behind your head, like it's fantastic, I love it.
A basketball in the other room go bouncing somewhere
Yes,
upstairs.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Hmm. What is all right? If we're going to talk about that, what is the one of the we'll say the creepiest moment in Phas for you?
Pumpkin, you
What's
gotta
your
start,
creepiest
I
Phas
gotta
moment?
think about it.
The creepiest moment in Faz.
Yes, a moment that actually scared you, or at least got your heart pumping a little bit. Because I know you don't scare too easy. So
Um,
He's cold
if there
hearted.
is a moment that's actually scared you, though, actually legit freaked you out, that would be perfect.
I'm trying to think. I mean, honestly, I mean, maybe when the update first came out, when everything changed
Yeah.
Okay.
and didn't know how to escape the ghost or anything, and it just constantly killing me and running for my life and hearing all these new noises and shit that are creepy.
Right.
Okay, that's fair. Just
Star?
the new stuff.
Yeah, it was
Um,
just all the new stuff that creeped me out the most.
for me, you would think that it would be like those moments where all the doors slam shut and the lights go out. But there was one moment that I had that just really creeped me the fuck out. And it was when I first entered, it was Edgefield, the 2 story. I
Right.
think that's Edgefield, or is that Ridgeview? But it's the one where you go in and it has the little mat, and then right across from you is the stairs leading up.
Yeah.
I walk into the house, haven't even turned on the breaker, and suddenly I hear this tunk, tunk, tunk. And I look toward the stairs in front of me, and a basketball just comes bouncing down the stairs like the second I enter the house. There was just something about it. It was so subtle,
Right.
but just no, like just dead ass silence. Nothing's turned on yet, and just a tunk, 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 slowly bouncing
Yeah.
down the stairs, and then kind of
Yep.
rolling toward the cabinet. That like made my skin fucking crawl. It was so creepy.
Yeah, I
So
can
that's
see
got
how
to be
that
it
would.
for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. I think. I mean, I had a couple good ones, honestly, playing by myself, you know,
Yeah, this
and
was a solo game too. No streaming. It was straight up just playing by myself.
nice. I have I got a couple good ones even on like clips and stuff. But like that whole I think the one that got me the worst is the one I had already talked about where it like breathes into the back of your head because like and I think the reason why that got me so bad is because of my hearing problem. I have a hard time um, pinpointing where sounds are coming from. So, for one, I don't normally hear a sound, you know? So, like, I was playing and I was tipsy because I had had a few drinks, and and all of a sudden, like, I'm trying to call this thing out. I'm like, whatever the guy's name was, John Doe, and all of it, and I knew what room he was in. I've got a camera set up. I've got the EMF down, everything down, and I'm outside of the room taunting him, trying to get him out so I could run into the closet and hide and get evidence. And all of a sudden, behind me, it goes, and I was like, I was like, because I could tell it like it felt like it was right behind me, and it freaked me right out. Like goosebumps,
Nice.
the whole nine. I was just like, nope, 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 nope. Ran right out of the house. I'm done. I'm done.
Screw this investigation. I'm out. I love it.
Yep. I was like, nope, can't handle that. Like I was expecting something to happen in the room, not behind me. That's
Yep.
not okay. So,
That is, yeah, that's fair. That one, again, it comes down to the ambiance, though, and just the atmosphere that the game builds. And you can really get immersed. Like, if you're by yourself, when you're not playing with somebody else, when you're not streaming, as much as I love playing with other people, particularly you two, it's 1,000 times scarier. And I think Phasmo's at its creepiest and arguably its best when you're running solo. I really do.
I agree, 100%.
What do you think on that one, Pumpkin?
um, damn, I forgot the question.
He's like,
Would you?
you guys are bitches. I'm not. I'm not commenting on this. Weak
No, would
ass
you?
motherfuckers.
Would you agree that Phasmo is arguably at its scariest and at its best when you're just straight up, fully immersed playing by yourself?
Oh yeah, that's pretty much the only time that it's really scary is when you're doing it solo.
Yeah.
I think it can get scary when you're playing with other people, like those moments when you're in a part of the house by yourself. Or if you're going to check on something and
Yep.
like maybe you're the one that goes in to look at the book real quick, or you're just that last person out. And there's always
Especially,
that wonder, that fear, like it's gonna close the door, but
What if
yeah,
it's
everyone
definitely
died?
losing.
especially
Or
on
if
the bigger
everyone died,
maps,
yeah,
especially on the bigger maps.
yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah,
But
like high school.
Yeah.
or Asylum, Asylum. Well, I have
Oh
my
yeah,
nitpicks on Asylum though, but yeah, those bigger maps, and then you're like the
prison.
last one out. Prison. It definitely adds a new layer to the horror behind it, and it's a lot more fun because of it in that
Agreed.
way. But there is a certain sense of satisfaction to bully the fuck out of the ghost when you're with a few people that know what
Yes, it does.
they're
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what do we dislike about the game?
doing. It's not a perfect game, but I think Pumpkin probably has more nitpicks than I do. So I will leave that one to him to start us off with.
Thanks for putting me on the spot.
We do what we
Well,
do.
my nitpicks with Phasmo is, I mean, it's like it could be better. It could be so much
Mm-hmm.
better. There could be way more things to do, more
Mm-hmm.
content. I mean, you have the stupid bullshit like when sometimes you close the locker door and somehow you still died, and you're like,
Right.
why? It's like I turned everything off. I have nothing electronic on me, and I closed the locker. And the thing is this happened a few times where it opens it one time and you try to close it and it immediately kills you. Sorry, everyone. We had a little bit of technical difficulties with Star
Maybe.
White's mic. So, back to what I was saying. My nitpick, my main nitpick with Phasmo is it can be better.
Right.
There's other ghost hunting games out there that pretty much they started a ghost hunting genre and people are doing lots of interesting things with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Phasmo can do so much better. And
Fat.
they're slowly doing it.
I was gonna
Mm-hmm.
say Phasmo definitely set the scene, and they're really trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. So you got to give them props for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. I would totally agree with you though. Like it's not that there's necessarily a whole lot wrong with the game, but you do get the sense after playing it a while that's like, there's so much more that they could do with this game
Right.
that could make it
yeah.
even better.
Look at a game now. This is a game that's not going to be coming out until next year,
hmm
but Phantom Hysteria,
Yep.
Right.
where the ghost can actually pull you down to the ground and drag your ass down a hallway.
Number
Okay,
one game in VR when it comes out.
that's going to be terrifying.
Yep.
Okay, it's going to be terrifying. And
Oh,
on top of
absolutely.
that, you have like in the trailer the Ouija board and the
Yeah.
fire just shooting up from the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we don't that's all we saw so far, but I can imagine them having like all items in a room floating all at once.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like Obsidio has with their version of the Yuri. Actually, just this everything floats up. That would be cool as shit, dude.
Yeah, and it just starts flying around. Like it doesn't drop back down, but it starts to actually fly around the room and shit.
Right.
That would, man.
I mean, people are making ghost hunting games. They're not copies, okay? They're their own ghost hunting game.
hmm
There are some similarities, like obviously you gotta have ghosts, you gotta have equipment,
Some
you
sort of
know,
evidence gathering. There has to be that
yeah,
loop.
you gotta have evidence gathering and stuff. So there's gonna be some similarities, but they're unique in their own way, though. And
Hmm.
Well,
there's
of course,
different
but
maps.
I mean, you say that they're not copies, but I mean, if it weren't for Phasmo, would they have been made? I mean,
At least one of them.
that's like
Well, one
saying
of
that.
them was already. One of the devs said that they actually had an idea for a ghost
Hmm.
hunting game before Phasmo was even announced.
Oh, sure.
And when they seen that it was announced, they
They
put it
delayed
on
it.
the
They
back.
stopped it.
They put it
Yeah.
on the back burner, and then once came New Year's, they were like, you know what?
Fuck it.
I see that a lot of people really like ghost hunting games, so he's gonna make
I
a
mean,
ghost hunting game.
I had an idea for roller skating shoes, and 20 years later, Heelys came out. But I mean, I, but like, I mean, truth be told, while they're not copies,
Hmm.
they're I don't think that they would have gained the traction that they did if it weren't for Phasmo. Now,
True.
maybe they could have been the Phasmo to start the trend, but at somewhere it has to
Mm.
start because that's like saying that the Sekiro games, I think there were two of them, are not
Yeah.
copies of Dark Souls, but yeah, they're not because it's a different story, it's different graphics, different lore, but kind of the same game.
I
Inspired
mean,
heavily by it. Yeah.
I
There
mean,
you
you could
go.
make the same argument
Inspired.
for Bloodborne, but Bloodborne is made by the
Absolutely.
Good.
same company that made
Dark
Dark
Souls.
Souls, just
Right.
like
Yeah.
Demon Souls. Demon Souls was the very first one.
Yep.
It didn't start with Dark Souls, it was Demon Souls.
Yep.
True.
But all of those Souls-born style games are all made by that same company. So they
Well,
may all be alike, but Bloodborne was like the most different out of all of them because with
yeah.
Bloodborne there was no shields. It was fast paced. You had to run around and do shit. You
Right.
couldn't just stand there and look like an idiot. You had to move around and dodge, otherwise you're gonna die.
So, uh, to put us back on topic, your biggest issue with the game is that you don't feel like they're progressing enough to keep you entertained for long enough.
Yeah, I mean, I played the update. I played everything, and honestly, I haven't played with anybody on Phasmo for
A good minute.
almost a month, I think.
Yeah.
Only because it's like I don't know. It's like I play the new stuff, but the thing is, it's the same maps. It's the
Right.
same layout. There's no there's no randomly generated maps to keep me interested, like forewarned that we'll be getting into in a moment. But
I
it's
agree.
like it's the same crap all the time. I mean, yeah, let's say you have two revs back to back. One can be aggressive and the other one can be like super tamed that it don't even want to bother with you.
Right.
But I mean, that's really it. I mean, there's nothing else to do. You just go in, figure out what the ghost is, risk your life for a fucking picture if you want, and then
Which you
leave.
do. Which you do.
Which you do. Yep.
I do
And
because it's
and
the
I
only
sit
way
in the
that I
van
can
like a
get
bitch.
scared. It's the only way that I can actually have that little bit of fear factor is by
Right.
risking my ass and all of my equipment just for
Right.
a lousy $10. So it's like that. I mean, that's literally it. And it's like you can ask anybody that has watched me do solos of Ghost Hunters Corp. It's like I figured out how to beat it. I was done.
Right.
I didn't want to play anymore. I was like, okay, I beat every map.
Right.
I'm done. There's nothing different here.
And I
I'm gonna
go ahead.
go ahead. I'm gonna kind of disagree on the maps a little bit, though. I'm gonna come at it from a different perspective, and here's why. Oftentimes, procedurally generated is also poorly generated in a lot of stuff.
Fair.
Um, and if you want to take a look at that, just take a look at 90% of procedurally generated stuff out there. It's bland. I mean, I hate to say it, I love the game No Man's Sky. There's a reason people complain about how every planet looks the same.
Right.
It's just a reskin. You know what I'm saying? And they got like fucking
Yeah,
trillions, literally trillions of planets.
Right.
Because they're all procedurally generated. They pick from a same pool of stuff that could potentially, maybe not be on that map. And
Right.
I think more than procedurally generated, I personally prefer a static map that's well put together, well designed, has a nice aesthetic to it. So rather than saying, I don't believe the problem is Phasmo doesn't have procedurally generated maps, I don't think they ever need to.
Right.
The
well,
devs
yeah,
have, you know, the devs have shown themselves that they can make good maps. They just need to make more of those good maps. I don't think they
yeah, because
necessarily need
let's
to
face
dip
it,
into
their
that.
last map that they came out with was in May.
Yep, we can always hope. There's some redacted
Actually,
stuff.
no. Let me take that back. It was in June. The
Was it
beginning
June?
of June.
Was
What
it
map?
June when Willow came out?
Oh, Willow.
Yeah. Willow. Where's this
Mm-hmm.
mansion we were supposed to get? Where's the damn
On the back burner.
apartments?
On the
Where's
back
this damn
burner.
the campsite map that they were talking about at one time? Where are
Uh,
all these maps?
CJ. CJ actually talked about on both Insum and Psycho stream about the campsite idea actually.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
like
still in there,
it's
but on
like
the
I'm
back
not
burner.
it's like I'm not saying that the maps that Phasmo has suck because I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love Tanglewood. I love the layout. I love the look of it.
Right.
It's just that I can only play it for so long
Right.
before I'm just like
Over it.
beating myself over the head with a fucking stick because I'm just doing the same goddamn thing over again.
Right.
You
I
know,
think.
and I'm just constantly making money. There's no threat. There's no
Mm-hmm.
threat. I
Yeah.
need something more aggressive,
Well, you
which is
memorize the
why
maps, so you know where everything's at.
it's like
Right.
that's why they're coming out with this new nightmare mode that I can't wait for the Halloween update because maybe it'll actually put some fear back in Phasmo. Because let's face it, it can be a lot better.
Right.
I'm not saying that it needs procedurally generated maps, but I mean games like Forewarned do it very fucking well.
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
lot better than mainstream games like No Man's Sky is a mainstream game. It's not an indie game.
Right.
Forewarned is only on PC and it's super cheap. Okay, that's what classifies as an indie game. You know, just like Phasmo is an indie game. It's not on console.
There are
It
indie
is
games
on
for
PC
console
only.
though.
What?
There's indie games that are both on PC and console. It's just
Which one?
There's what is the name of it? I'm trying to think of the name. One that I play on PC a lot.
I
Fuck.
mean, there's probably not many if,
I mean,
you know.
maybe not in the horror genre, but there's a lot of games that are indie that have been cross-platform. I think the biggest thing is that they're not part of
A
a
big dev company.
a bit right,
Mm.
and
Usually they're one
Yeah.
or two dev type games.
right now, uh, and I I think you both have good points, but I think that they should be met somewhere in the middle because on one hand, Pumpkin's right. They don't
Hmm.
have enough maps
I agree with
to
that.
not have some sort of randomization factor. On the other
Hmm.
hand, you don't want procedurally generated maps because like you said, the quality does drop because then you just have a bucket list of shit and say, okay, find something to do with it. and the maps always end up being, they're there and
Yeah.
there's stuff in there, but it doesn't have the right feel. But if they could, I mean, even just take Tanglewood and
Hmm.
move, like fucking put the garage on the other side,
Yep.
you know,
Rearrange the garage.
right, like just shift where the bathroom is, shift where this bedroom is, shift where the office is, like have
Yeah.
like the same thing, but put the rooms in different places.
And the
I think
closets too. Put the closets in different areas.
definitely the
Hmm.
closets
Yeah.
because uh, like you both have touched on, like you get to a point where you played that game so many times that you don't have to think about where you're going,
Right.
Yeah, we just walk
because
in, we know where everything is.
right. So you find the room, you already know where the closest closet is. You don't gotta look around for the closet that you're gonna hide in. You
Or like you're
just
looking for the breaker and it's going to spawn one of two or three places.
right,
So you don't even bother checking the map. You're just like, hey, I'm going to go check here first. And if it's not there, I know where it's at.
right,
Or if you're like me, you practically have the Ouija board memorized on every single small map.
Where it's, yeah,
All the
right,
locations.
right. So I think a small randomization factor would go a long way.
it would. I absolutely agree with that. I think that'd be a good compromise, actually. Maybe
I mean, they
rearrange
would
furniture a little
probably,
bit too.
I
yeah,
mean,
they
they
would
could
probably tell you, oh, they randomized the bone in the Ouija board. But that's not
That's two
enough.
things. No,
right,
it's
right,
not.
right,
It's
right,
not
It's two
enough.
things.
right, and it's not.
And the
It's
ghost room they randomized, but that's about it.
Yeah, and the fucking breaker, but that's
Hmm.
all.
right, but how randomized is it? I mean,
Not
like
really.
you said you have it memorized where the Ouija board is going to spawn on the small maps, which means that it has um a
Fun
set
point.
cycle,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you know, instead of like I mean you wouldn't even have to change that, okay, it's the say the Ouija board 1 out of 4 times it's going to spawn in the parents' bedroom, the master bedroom.
Just add rooms. Add
Right.
rooms that can spawn in. That's all you got to do.
Well, I mean, even if they didn't do that, if you had a thing that rearranged where the rooms are,
True.
that in and of itself is going to change things. So,
That's true. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree they should just let it spawn in any room. But, you know,
Yeah, no, you're right. If they did the whole like the rooms could be arranged differently,
right,
that would solve that right there. Like that would kill two birds with one stone, and it would be less work for the devs too, less
right.
coding. Yeah, that would be really cool. Actually, I would be down for that totally.
And then you still do have the maps. You can still, but
Yeah.
you won't have people who, play 1,000 hours of the game. Pumpkin! and and had the ability to memorize everything because it would be some sort of random. I think that'd
Yeah.
be cool.
That so I think you touched on probably one of the bigger problems with Phasmo, but there's another elephant in the room with it too. You can still loop ghosts. Ghosts are still not really that much of a threat unless you happen to get caught out of position or blindsided by, say, a banshee. That's about it. Um,
Or Rev.
or a rev. If you're caught out of position with a rev, you might be kind of screwed. But barring those select niche circumstances, the ghost is not really a threat, and that is a big problem because think about all of the horror stuff we've talked about, right? The one thing that makes something scary is the big bad monster actually killing people and actually being dangerous, making you feel like
Right.
you gotta run for your life. What the fuck is it where I can just duck behind a counter and loop a fucking ghost? Really? Really?
Dead by
Like,
Daylight.
exactly.
With
Like,
your jungles.
for real, take Tanglewood. You can literally loop the ghost by ducking and breaking line of sight with it around that island.
Really?
Yes. Because you break line of sight so it never gets the speed buff, it can never catch up to you.
No kidding.
Likewise, you can continuously there's a couple other maps you can get away with. Farmhouse. Both farmhouse maps have loops like that where you can just break line of sight, so the ghost never gets its speed buff that it's supposed to when you retain line of sight, and it allows you to loop it. And I have a serious problem being able to loop a supernatural entity like that.
Right.
The idea is you should be forced to hide from it, not be able to outrun it because it's a fucking ghost,
Right.
and damn sure not be able to loop it around a counter like fucking Scooby Doo. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's probably my biggest problem with Phasmophobia. They need to put the ghost back in the game, and I hope with Nightmare they do.
Yeah.
Although a Scooby Doo game would be badass though.
Seriously.
The dev doesn't support
'Cause-
modding at all because he feels it ruins his vision, but there are mods for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally running around the counter like Scooby Doo. I mean, we
So,
talked about Phasmo. I said
So
my
yeah,
bit
let's.
about my nitpicks. Now let's move on to
well, Sky,
Forewarned.
he's got to give us his nitpicks on Phasmo, if he has any.
Oh. Yeah. What's
Um.
your nitpicks, noob?
I, my nitpick is that like so
Playing
because
with us. We're kind of dicks when we play with him.
you're kind of dicks in general, but that's fine. Um, we
Okay.
I, I think honestly my biggest problem with the game is I don't know if it tends to only happen when I'm alone, but I have gotten into the game and died within 2 minutes because like I'll go in and I'll get the thermometer out and I'll look around and all of a sudden the hunt starts and before I can get to a closet I've died. So I have had a completely different experience than you guys have when I'm solo.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I don't know if it's because the mic and like maybe I'm breathing too heavy like
It might be. No, seriously, the mic on single player, it does not shut off.
It
right
is
So
always on.
that could
right
be it. That could be getting you killed.
so like I mean and I've had maps where the spirit box does not fucking work and the ghost needed the spirit box. So
Hmm.
like I couldn't find that third piece of evidence no matter what I did. And
Yeah, that.
I played a map for like 20 25 minutes just trying for the one piece of evidence and I couldn't find it. So I'm like, "All right, well I got a 50-50 shot. 50-50
Yep.
shot. It's going to be this or it's going to be this." And the spirit box and it never went off. No matter
Yeah.
how many times I tried it. So there are little things like and
Little bugs.
but but maybe I'm a little more scared of the game than you guys because I encounter shit like that more. You know what I mean? Like,
That's fair.
because I'll get into I've been hunted within a minute and a half of being in a house. Like there's and this was like right after I read that there's like a 2-3 minute grace period where you enter the house and
Not unprofessional.
dude, I was playing by myself. I'm still an amateur.
Oh, that's a 5 minute grace period on amateur, I think.
All right. So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I died within 2 minutes because it started hunting me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so on one hand, it's kind of awesome because I do have that fear level that you guys don't
Mhm.
have because you played it a lot more. But on the other hand, my camera just went crazy.
It went
Um,
green for a second. Yeah, that was
yeah.
weird.
Um, but on the other hand, it frustrates me because I can't get enough money to
Right.
to get all
Yeah,
the
to get
evidence
other
to make
equipment.
more money and get better equipment.
That is really
Yeah,
actually a good point. I don't
and
know
there's
why you're running into that. That is so weird, though. That's bizarre to me.
yeah, and it's like there's been something I've ran into a few times where I don't know if the ghost is roaming too much,
Hmm.
but it would be like it doesn't have a ghost room,
Yes, that's been a big thing lately, actually.
Yep.
and you would be literally running around with a fucking thermometer that you might as well stick up your ass because you keep on fucking going around looking for fucking 40 or 32 to fucking degrees, and it keeps going from fucking 32 to 67 in point 0.2 seconds, and you're like, what in the fuck? Where is this damn ghost?
Well, I hope it
Nobody
continually
fucking
reads
knows.
98.6 for you.
Yeah, it's like the ghost might as well be up my ass because that's where it's gonna be when it fucking hunts me. Is right up my ass.
You
But
heard it here, folks.
now,
Pumpkin has ghosts up his ass.
oh god. Now,
He's
although
a pest dispenser.
They make noises sometimes. They got their own language.
he's a paranormal investigator.
Damn it, man.
So now,
Oh shit.
so you know, it just dawned on me though. We are bitching and applauding the same thing. Like,
Hmm.
on one hand, we do want shit to not work perfect every time to upgrade our fear level, but at the same time, we get angry that it doesn't work.
Well, here's the thing, though. If it's a game mechanic that's intended, it doesn't feel cheap. When you're sitting there
Yeah,
spending
Fair.
20 minutes looking for the fucking ghost room, but because of some thermometer bug that hasn't been fixed yet, that's been in the game since they did the thermometer rework, it feels like
Right.
a cheap shot when, you
Yeah.
can't find the ghost room because of that one thing. Or
Yeah.
like
yeah,
if the
And with the
spirit
spirit
box bugs
box.
out on you. Yeah, when spirit box bugs out on you, and then even though you have an alt tabbed, I know that's a Windows 10 issue, not a Phasmo issue. But if you
yeah,
have an alt when I'm in single player, I've had that same issue, Sky, where the spirit
Yeah.
box will not fucking work. And you will stop getting that X too, out of nowhere. It just drops.
Yeah.
And
yep,
it's been a bug for a while. And yeah, it's absolutely irritating and it feels cheap and unfair.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And then
there's
I
a
wind up standing there having to constantly alt tab until the damn thing works again.
yeah, but like even without alt tabbing, I've had that happen with Spirit Box. I mean, and what the fuck can you do? So it does feel really cheap in those areas. Whereas if it was just completely random versus and like a game mechanic versus it being a
Right.
bug that stops you, that would make all the difference in the world, at least to me.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if they actually put out there that, oh, sometimes you might get a ghost that won't have a ghost room, and you'll have to go and chase it around
Hmm.
and somehow potentially lock it in a room. You know
And
what I
that could
mean?
be a cool game mechanic. I mean,
Or
a
even if you
ghost that
can't lock
doesn't
him in a
have a
room,
room,
yeah.
it's the whole house, and you gotta, keep moving your shit to other rooms until it gives you something.
I mean,
That
hell,
would be a cool game mechanic.
here's another mechanic. Maybe it changes ghost rooms every minute.
Yeah,
So
there you
it's
go.
like you gotta find the ghost room, and you might only have 30 seconds to get your shit in there and try to get an evidence. Otherwise, it's gonna
Yeah.
move again, and then you'll have to figure out where it went now.
See, I
And
think
see how
that
much better would that feel than, like just the fucking ghost is bugging out and you can't get a read on where
Yeah,
it's supposed to
because
be.
right.
literally, it's like the ghost is just constantly moving up and down the stairs to the basement, to the garage, to the master bedroom. It's just constantly moving.
Right.
You can't really get evidence that way.
Hmm.
There would have to be a sweet spot on the timing because like a minute wouldn't be enough because there's a good chance that by the time you find the room, you got 2 seconds before it moves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
there's
probably
definite
like 3 minutes.
or some sort of a trigger, like, oh well, the ghost moved rooms. Once you enter, you have 3 minutes to get stuff in instead of like a
Yeah,
constant. But yeah, I agree. That'd be kind of cool.
And
But I
then you
would
can
like,
still have that bug that still adds some kind of randomness to the game and some kind of joy because
yeah,
you're kind of like, well, now I'm on edge because I don't know where the fuck it is. you could get that without having it artificially created through a bug that is altering the gameplay experience you're supposed
Right.
to be having.
And I think that'd be actually a pretty neat mechanic to have a ghost that doesn't stop moving. Like,
Nightmare mode. Let's go. Put
yeah,
that in
is that?
nightmare.
I mean, like, because then, I mean, obviously, a very cheap exploit would be stay in whatever room you want, be
Yeah.
right next to the door. Eventually, you're gonna catch all the things.
But it would take longer. It would take a lot longer to do it
It
that way.
would,
So
right,
it's is it worth your time to do that exploit? Probably
right,
not.
and it would have to be like a one out of every 23 maps.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
ratio of that type of ghost would have to be severely lowered.
Or just its own a full on ghost type that does that versus every ghost doing it.
That's
Just one
true.
ghost type. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'm looking forward to in this upcoming Phasmo update is the new ghosts. One of them potentially being called the twins.
Hmm.
So, two ghosts
that would suck.
If they do it right,
running around,
they need to
which
hunt together.
means which means possibly two people might be able to die in one hunt.
They got to
Right.
do that. If they don't, then it's wasted opportunity with that ghost, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, you got that, plus you got the whole nightmare mode, which for all we know, you can probably start off with zero sanity. That would be
I would
fun
be
times.
That would be, or like maybe 25% or 30%. So
That'd be
you're
rough.
in hunt range immediately for any ghost.
Right.
Yeah,
That's another thing. Get rid of the hunt range, period. Just fuck the sanity hunt range. Use sanity for like visual effects and shit. Make ghosts just be able to randomly hunt. Like, why do you have to have a hunt range? It takes away from the fear because 90% of the ghosts, I can just stay above, 80% sanity and I'm good. And it's not that hard to do.
yeah, and honestly, doing solos is very easy for me
Hmm.
because I always bring in four sanity pills,
Candles too.
and I can usually, yeah, candles too,
Hmm.
and I can usually do everything without a single hunt happening.
Exactly, and that's a problem. Like you should always have at least one hunt, no matter how skilled you are,
Right.
because it's a ghost hunting game, and you're supposed to be in danger. But again, solo is such easy mode, and even like if you're with a group that knows how to keep their sanity up, even multiplayer, it's not hard to keep your sanity up. Create a trail of lights through the main part of the house you have to go to all the time, and you're
Right.
good. Carry a fucking candle with you and you're good. And you may never even have to use a sanity pill.
I mean, it's like all four of you can carry just candles,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
one of you have a lighter to light everybody's candle up while everybody else brings in equipment, and you guys will always be at 100% sanity, just about.
Yep.
You'll never hit that threshold at all.
Yeah. There's no ghosts except for a banshee, unless and banshees rarely use their power too. That's something that needs to change too. Like banshees can hunt at any sanity if their power triggers, but I can count on one hand of all the banshees I've ever run into, the number of banshees that's ever used their power and hunted me at say 90% sanity. It's happened
Right.
Yeah,
twice
yeah,
in
and I think
600
there's gonna
levels.
be. I think that second ghost that's being added, I think one of its strengths is gonna be hunting at any sanity as well.
I hope they need more
So,
like that.
I think a I think a good thing for that would, instead of having it be that they hunt at a certain level, have your
Hmm.
sanity be kind of like your attractiveness to the ghost. Like if you're at 90%
Hmm.
sanity, they're not going to go after you. They're going to go after the guy with 70. And and you have a 70% chance of not getting killed by them, or whatever. And
individual hunts.
That
right,
would be so cool
right,
though.
like, so it's kind of like, oh well, I don't have to outrun the zombies. I just have to outrun the slowest person, like,
That's where it is right now, basically.
you know. So like I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, if the say the three of us are playing and my sanity's at 52, your guys is at like 80 something, the ghost is gonna come. The ghost is still gonna hunt, but he's gonna come for me, even though our average sanity is 80 something, and he's not supposed to hunt, you know. So that way it does, like you said, you always still have a hunt, but you kind of have sort of a survival percentage or a how hard the ghost is going to go for you percentage.
I would add to that and say at the point that you're hidden and it can't find you, then it can pick another target, the next lowest sanity.
Right.
So then you could be like, yo, motherfucker, why did you take your pills? You got him killed because he couldn't find your ass.
Yep. Yep.
That would be so fun. Yeah, those are some good ideas. I don't know. Like Pumpkin said, it's a good game, but things like this, like you realize how much better it could be if they
Right.
put a little more thought into it.
Right. Also, it's easy for us because we're not programming it.
True, and I'm sure it's a mess to
Yeah.
program it. But if they've done what they can do with it, I don't see why they couldn't do those other little tweaks. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we kind of hit the end of Phasmo for now because we could probably go on forever. Um, One of the things that we
Yep.
kept
Yep.
comparing to was Forewarned. So let's move on to that.
All right.
Sorry, you want to start us off?
Sure. I guess we should do a description of what Forewarned is first. So, basically, mummies, mummies, and fucking Tomb Raider type shit or Indiana Jones type shit.
I was gonna say it's kind of like Ghost Hunters meets Indiana Jones,
Yeah, I mean, you still got again.
or
It comes
or
down to
Brendan Fraser, the Mummy.
well, it comes down like you said earlier, though. You, um, it's still got that same loop. You still got to do the evidence. You still got to figure out what type of entity you're dealing with. But in this case, it's a different type of mummy, and there's traps like Indiana Jones style boulders and shit, and
Right.
spiked floors, and picking up money and artifacts. And
Right.
then, if you choose to be brave enough to do it, opening that inner sanctum and getting the treasure there and then getting out.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's rough. Getting that, getting that relic in the inner sanctum, because especially when the maps are randomly generated, so you don't know exactly where that thing's going to be. I mean, you could get lucky, and it be right around the corner, and you can just flip that switch and get the hell out. But I mean,
Right.
if you're on like a large map, it
It
could
could be
be
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
In any room. It can even be on the side when you're going from like those catwalks that you sometimes have, where you have like where you can drop down on both
Yeah.
sides, but the switch can be off to the side of
Mm-hmm.
one of the entrances. So
So wait, the switch can be somewhere you can access?
No, you can still access it,
no, you
Oh,
but
can
it can
okay.
still
be off to the
access
side.
it. It's just a little bit more hidden.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
And
go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, but the exit switch too, once the entrance closes on you when you open the inner sanctum, that doesn't spawn in until you've opened the inner sanctum, right? So you'll never know where that exit switch is either ahead of time.
Mm,
No.
that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, one of the things that I think that they've done well is, even though they do have the procedurally generated maps, it's it's fluent.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's not. I mean, yeah, you can tell where the rooms start and end, but it flows well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's not like procedurally generated in the sense that everything seems randomly jumbled together like fucking rolling Yahtzee dice. You know, it actually
Right.
feels everything that's there seems to belong there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like their current update that they had, where they have a whole bunch of new rooms and a new look,
Mm-hmm.
a new entrance and everything for the different kind of Egyptian tomb that they have.
Yep.
Oh, really?
But you don't see those pieces mixed in with the original pieces,
Right.
although there are some new rooms that fit very well, like that one with the big Anubis statue and the four
Yeah.
Mm,
mummies all around.
nice.
Yeah, there's some good stuff there. A little bit later, I'll get into kind of a couple things that I don't like about the procedurally generated stuff. It's kind of minor though.
Right.
But overall, I think it's an example of procedural generation done correctly that doesn't feel really awkward when you're going in. It doesn't take you out of the immersion of
So,
being in this tomb.
well, rather than start off with what we do like about it, start us off with what you don't like. What about it?
Okay, I mean, the biggest thing for me, that one of the things that kind of does break my immersion a little bit, is you'll get these big empty rooms that have nothing in
Mm,
it. And
yeah.
that kind of irritates
Yeah.
me. Like when you go around a corner, and it's very noticeable because not there's not a lot of rooms like that. But every now and again you'll run into a room that's just there's nothing in there. There's just four statues and that's it. And it's like, that's, for one, it's not really fitting with a burial ground, a tomb like that that's meant
Right.
for pharaohs. But for two, it seems so out of place for there to be just this giant empty room. So when
Right.
it the on the procedurally generated part, that's the thing that irritates me the most. And then when it comes to the traps, I have a nitpick there, and it's
Okay.
the fact that they're not really dangerous. Like once you know about the trap and how it works, bikes just don't walk on them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's it.
Yeah,
Um, the boulders, you have to try to get killed by a boulder. Like, and they're
literally.
and they're so obvious where they're at. They're not hidden in any kind of way. They're
right.
just, you walk in the room and you see it. So it's like these traps are really cool, but they're super easy to get away from, so they don't really serve that big of a threat. The the
Right.
most the most dangerous ones are the pendulums that go swinging. And even then, I mean, as long as you have half a sense of timing, you're probably not you're going to be okay
Right.
most of the time. So those are my two biggest issues with the game.
That's fair. Pumpkin, what about you?
Me, I would have to say, for one of my biggest gripes would be like Star said, the empty rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
it's pretty pretty annoying because it's like there's like absolutely no purpose of them. There's no gold. There's
Right.
no anything in it. I mean, yeah, sometimes a relic would pop in there or something like that, but I mean, otherwise, besides that, there's not much.
Right.
Um, Another gripe I would probably have is, I guess it would have to be with, besides the immersion breaking, it would be how hard it is to like dodge some of the mummies or medjais as they call them in the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like take Necref for instance. Uh, the only way to really know is if you get that tablet with the night vision, and you don't get that until like later on.
Right.
So if you get Necref and you're absolutely brand new to the game,
Screwed.
you're practically stuck with walking around in the dark and hoping you don't fucking bump into him because he will instantly kill you if you run right into him. So, I mean, there's no way to get around him besides listening and hoping to God he's not right around the corner.
I can see
And
where that's an annoyance, but I think that's kind of cool that they don't have, you know, that they have something that I mean, it seems like that particular mummy would be more challenging, especially if you don't have it. Like if you don't think about grabbing it, or or if you don't can't afford it or whatnot. It seems like that would just up that terror level a little bit more because you don't know if you're going to get it and you're not going to be able to see him. So I do see where it would be annoying, but I can also see the positive on that as well.
I agree there, but I do have a counterpoint. For gameplay purposes, there should always be some kind of counterplay, I feel like. And Necraf is one that if you run into as a new player without all that stuff, like I just now got night vision on my tablet.
yeah, I mean, I'm talking
And
about like someone who's brand new, never played the
Right.
game ever, and your very first guy is Necref, and guess what? You're instantly dead.
there's just no
Right.
counterplay other than not opening the inner sanctum, which you're not going to know not to do that until it's
Right. Right.
Yeah, you're just gonna punch it in, and then all of a sudden you're gonna hear your exit close, and you're like, oh shit, now
Yeah.
so.
what?
I do feel there could be some form of counterplay for someone who, you know, is brand new and maybe needs some form of light. I don't know what that would be. Maybe he's only attracted to fire, so it would force a new player to learn to take a flashlight instead, or vice versa. I'm not sure.
Right.
But there should be, I feel like there's got to be some form of counterplay to, because that could turn somebody off to the game. Like if that was the very first magi you got, you would be like, fuck this shit, what the hell?
Right.
Yeah, you'd be like, okay, I'll just go back to something else. See you later.
Yeah. So I see where you're coming from on that, Sky, because I do agree that is really cool because it does amp up the fear. I just think
Oh
there needs
yeah,
to be a little something you can do.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about being a little bit more beginner friendly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe that could just come with a difficulty setting,
Right.
and any edge that you would normally have is gone when you're on a higher difficulty setting like Phasmo does.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think my like from the little bit that I've played,
Hmm.
my biggest issue is not so much the big empty rooms, but like those and this is with all games. It doesn't have to be a horror game. Anything that has something that you can see but can't get to. So
I know what you're going at.
like when I was playing with you guys, there was that treasure chest across the little
Yes.
spiked trap.
Uh,
Like, come on,
and there's no way to get to it. They're
none.
literally, we've already like, and in Pumpkin, I know he's probably done some solos too because he's got more time in that one than I do. I play mostly Faz, and I think he's playing a lot of Forewarn lately. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but um, I know you probably tried your ass off to get to that chest too, probably 1,000 different ways, and I know I have. There's just no way to do it. It's not in the game.
Yeah, and
Yeah, there's no way to do it.
and,
Nothing.
and, and and it doesn't make sense to me. Why? And I see in RPGs they do it. They're like
Mm-hmm.
they'll put it behind the counter, so it's there. You can't touch it. Like, and it's like, fuck you. I want that treasure.
Thank you, Divinity Original Sin. Shout out to you for having chests and shopkeeper shit that we as a player can loot if we got the balls
Yes,
to try it.
yes.
Yep.
It does. It bugs me. Don't show me things that I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know it's supposed to be an aesthetic thing. It's supposed to be a mood setting thing, but that's so frustrating that I don't know. I don't like dangling fruit. Like no.
Well, you know why that's there, don't you? The skeleton of the previous exploration can sometimes spawn down there, and so it kind of you kind of see how that person was too greedy and tried to get to it and failed. But that's no excuse. I
No.
mean, it's just bad game design, in my opinion, to have something like that. I fucking agree with you on that 100%.
And it's something that I've seen in games as far back as the Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
where you see this thing and it looks like some sort of a maze where you can get this thing that's just over there, but there's no fucking way to get it. Not without breaking the game. Not without game genie, game
Game
shark, like
Genie, oh my god.
fucking old school cheat codes. Like
Fuck. Yeah, though, you're not
nowadays,
wrong.
nowadays it'd be a flying mod. Like you
Mhm.
shouldn't have to do that kind of stuff. Like don't tease it. Make it pop. Make it absolutely fucking ridiculously hard. Sure, give me that challenge, but make it an attainable thing.
Yeah. Yeah, hell, you know what?
Yeah.
Put the switch to create a bridge or something in the inner sanctum to incentivize you to go in the inner sanctum in the first place, because that's a giant pile of fucking gold over there.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Hell, make that lever not work until you pull the inner sanctum level that shuts the
Yep.
exit off. So you have now you got to run. You got to find the switch to the exit, and now you have the shot at getting that treasure. Anything.
Anything but to have it impossible to get to. And
Right.
then waste your time as you spend countless hours trying to figure out how the fuck to get across that gap that's impossible to get over.
Yeah, because guess what? I played a couple maps on my own, and guess what I did for about half a fucking hour?
You trying to get across? Yeah, exactly. I did the same thing. I did the
And
same damn thing.
it frustrates me to no end.
Be truthful, Pumpkin. How much time do you think you spent trying to figure out how the fuck to get over that gap before you realized that there was no switches, no hidden doors, no way to get to it?
Uh, not. I mean, honestly, not that long. Only because
Really?
it's like it would. I mean, it's like if there was gonna be some way to get over there, it was gonna be on the side that was on my side. Like maybe there was some kind of bridge that I can build.
So
See,
Like
not
maybe
me.
basically,
like a ladder or something that I can just stretch along the way and
in
Not me.
pull
I was
across.
assuming it was hidden. I was assuming there was something hidden, like a switch, a button, something somewhere in the damn map because of the way they do the other switches. So I spent quite a bit of time just trying to find some way to get across.
so basically in Disney's Aladdin, you and I would be a Pooh, and he'd be Aladdin.
Pretty much, pretty much. Shinies. The couch is my precious.
I would be Aladdin, you guys would be a poo.
Listen, that gold is appealing, and I'm fucking positive there's a way to get it. Only there's not.
You want the
Touch
shiny.
nothing but the lamp.
Or
That's
like
fair.
or like Gollum who literally jumps over the edge to get the fucking ring and winds up landing in the lava pit.
Yes.
The other thing that really gets my goat with this game, and again, not knocking it, we'll get into the positive stuff, but it really annoys me that the game has no incentive for you to even bother with the biggest, scariest part of it. You can play through, you can get the gold, you can get all the gold piles, and get what you need without ever having to trigger the the big magi at the end.
Right.
I don't really see the point other than a collectible that doesn't mean shit. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, why? Like, there's just no incentive. Like, why would you go in and risk your life for that when you can get all the gold without ever having to even open the inner sanctum, without ever putting yourself at any real danger,
Right.
and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's the other biggest thing probably that bothers me, because it just, the game doesn't force you ever to go in there
Right.
and to trigger the big bad.
Right.
Yeah, like how I've done plenty of times where I've just went in, got
Mm-hmm.
all the gold,
And
got
left.
out. Although now they changed the game on there where it's like whoever has something with you get all the gold and all of a sudden I guess you get chased out by a bunch of mummies or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They never specified what it was, but yeah, supposedly there's some kind of um I won't say punishment, but threat if you're too greedy. But the patch notes don't say what it is.
Huh.
And again, it's not the big bad. So I mean, even if it is mummies, like your torch, just burn them. They're easy to kill.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened with me and you. We never went to the
Hmm.
inner sanctum and yet we got attacked by 5 freaking mummies.
Yep.
So,
And the shock factor was scary because it's nothing ever like that has happened before. But again, I mean, you just wave your torch one time and that's
they're
it.
dead.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no threat there. Even if you were by yourself, there wouldn't really be a threat. You would just whoosh, done.
Right. Now, so as far as positives go, like again, same with Faz. I played a whole lot less than you guys have. um, I do like that there is the like the shade and the mummies. Like you don't have to wait for that big bad thing to happen. There's enough going on that you know there's still, I mean, challenge,
Hmm.
but there's still things to avoid and things to do before getting to that point.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Definitely to an extent, because you do want to find the gold, especially when you want that better equipment.
Right.
And it's absolutely mandatory if you're going to mess around in the inner sanctum to have some of it.
Right.
Um, so definitely agree on that. I do think to build on that, it has a really good aesthetic. I mean, I don't think you can
Oh
talk about the
yeah.
aesthetic of it enough. Just this
Yeah.
ancient Egyptian Indiana Jones esque Tomb Raider feel to it.
Yeah.
It's definitely unique in that department, because all these other games, you're in a house, right?
Yeah.
Obsidian, you go in a fucking house and you're hunting a ghost. Phasmo, you're in a house, or maybe you're in like a prison or something. Um,
Right.
Name any other clone coming out that we've seen. It all involves houses. And
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
first one we've seen that's like in an underground Egyptian tomb,
Yeah.
and it looks so good. It is designed really well. So the aesthetic is like chef's kiss. It is so good and
Yeah.
very unique to, well, to forewarn. It's completely unique in that regard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
And honestly, it's like you see with me, there needs to be more variety of maps because it seems like everybody keeps coming out with the same stuff.
Yes, exactly. I
I
agree
mean,
on
do
that.
you not know how many times I've played a game that's a ghost hunting game and they have, like, obviously a street house
Hmm.
or a farmhouse? You
Every
know how
single
many
one.
farmhouses? I mean, literally, Obsidio has a farmhouse.
Yep.
Ghost Hunters Corp, their
Has a
little,
farm.
their small house is practically a farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And
Devour.
Devout, yeah.
Devour has a farmhouse. Everybody's got a fucking farmhouse. I want to see a hospital. I want to see an apartment complex. I want to see hotels, motels.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one game that's coming out in December that I can't wait for because they're also going to have a mine map where the ghost is actually, he was talking about it in his dev stream. It's going to be able to blow out the torches in the mine and it will be 100% pitch black in there. So you need a
Ooh.
flashlight, otherwise you're not going to be able to see anything.
You're not talking about the hauntings, are you?
I am.
Really? They're planning on having a mine?
He already has it made.
A
Yeah.
mine! A mine! It's a Jew.
So yeah, he's already planning on having a haunted mine in
That's
his
awesome.
game.
That really is. Again, that's going to be something that's really unique to
I
that
mean,
particular game.
he also has a motel map
Right.
already and
Mm-hmm.
done. He has a diner map all
Ooh.
done and ready. He has different maps. I mean, I liked Ghost Hunters Corp. Literally, there's only one map
I
from
know which one it is.
the three maps that they added, and it was the cemetery.
Yep, I knew it. I fucking knew it. The
I
cemetery.
mean, who doesn't want to go ghost hunting in a creepy ass cemetery?
Right.
I
Fuck
mean, come
yeah.
on. No other ghost hunting game has put a fucking cemetery of any sorts in their game.
Which is surprising.
It is very surprising.
I mean,
And
even if you had a cemetery in the backyard just sitting there and the ghost never goes back there, at least you have the aesthetic of a
Yeah.
cemetery making
mhm,
it extra creepy.
Man, could you
Nobody
imagine?
has that.
Can you imagine if they did like not only a cemetery but like a small church or like
mhm.
what's it called? Um, what's the little building called with the all the stuff inside? Um,
Mausoleum
Mausoleum.
with all the
Well,
like
you
coffins
want to
and
know
stuff in there.
something else?
Yeah.
I was pretty much in the devs live stream for the hauntings, and I mentioned, despite my better judgment, because it's like, giving people ideas, I was like, what about an old church? Like an
That would be
old
cool.
rundown church. And he was like, we already have that kind of planned
Cool.
Nice.
already. They have a whole bunch of maps that they have planned that they haven't made yet. Like they have 5 maps that they already have made, but there's other ones that are going to be in the works. And supposedly one of them is a church map.
That's awesome.
We need something like Brookhaven Hospital from Silent Hill.
Mm,
I was going to say, I would love to see a hospital map.
Me too.
I mean, even if
Yep.
it wasn't, even if it wasn't like completely run down, like even one that's like, some of them you have like decommissioned hospitals where there's
Hmm.
still like relatively new shit in there, but it was just completely abandoned for some odd reason.
right.
And you have just everything just lying about
Yep.
Yeah.
all over the place. Just, there was like, there was one YouTube video where someone went into like a decommissioned or abandoned hospital and it looked like a modern day hospital, but it wasn't run down. It
Right.
was completely dead and empty, and there was some of the rooms had boxes all dumped out on the floor and shit. There was like syringes all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
just
That would be fun.
literally an abandoned, decommissioned hospital. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a rundown
Right.
ugly looking hospital. But I mean,
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
It would be, and again, it's kind of like the cemetery. It's really odd that there's only one game of the Phasmo type games that have included one. It's so weird because you would think
Yeah.
that would be a given to have a cemetery type map with any kind of ghost hunting game whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and the cemetery that Ghost Hunters Court has is really freaking cool and creepy and absolutely love it.
That's about the best thing about that game.
Quite
Yeah.
literally, like I said, their so-called Japanese temple where the damn
The
bamboo isn't
square
even round.
bamboo. The
It's
bamboo that
literally
looks like it was
square.
made in Minecraft.
I was gonna say, was
I'm
it made in
like,
Minecraft? Jesus.
I'm
Imagine
like,
bamboo. Imagine
really?
Minecraft bamboo, but without any kind of aesthetic to make it decent. Literally
Nice.
no texturing. It's just a green square stalk.
I
Wow.
mean, it might as well be for how fucking horrible it looked.
Exact. Yeah. So, I mean, all in all, it might sound like I was kind of hard on it a little bit, but I do enjoy Forewarned. I think all of us overall do. It's
Absolutely.
a great game. And
Yeah,
it does, like you said, you were talking about procedural generation pumpkin. It's one of the few games that I feel like does it pretty well overall. So yeah, I mean, it's a good game. It's definitely one that's worth getting into. But I think that kind of segues into our wrap up. We talked about Phasmo. We hit on Forewarned. We talked a little bit about some other lesser known clones.
Yeah.
yep,
Did get into my favorite one, but that could be a topic all on its own, um, for sure. So yeah,
yeah. Thank you everyone for joining.
The Haunted 3 on this creepy adventure.
and we will see you next time.